안녕하세요. Riding on the Korean wave. Welcome to Friday's edition of the Culture Wave. I'm Kwon-soa in Seoul. Explore with us Korea's culture from K-trends and K-tourism to K-entertainment with a special focus on K-movies and series today. And all of that together with our Friday co-host, Walter Lee. Hello, Walter.
Hello, Soa, and hello, everyone, the K-Wave viewers out there. I've got some exciting K-entertainment news, so stick around for that.
And we're also joined by our news features reporter, An Sung-jin. Hello, Sung-jin.
Hello, guys. Hello to all of our viewers. My name is An Sung-jin, and I'm a news features reporter here at Arirang News.
So, Sung-jin, I heard that you've visited a very significant place that signifies a trend in the upcoming year.
Right, so on the Culture Wave so far, we've talked about places to visit, things to do, various cultural aspects, including food. But today I want to talk about a trend that is soon going to be a dominant consumer trend in 2025. Earth Us. This cafe in a quiet area of Seoul is unique for a very special reason. It does not provide any disposable products. Instead of paper napkins or plastic cups and straws, everything here is reusable, even in the kitchen. If you want to take out a cake, you have to bring your own container from home.
Unlike other cafes, I like how this cafe is eco-friendly. Last time I came here, I brought my own pot to take out this cake. It's memorable that they really work on campaigning for a green environment.
The shop owner said the cafe strives for zero waste, and as a result, it produces only 1/10 of the trash of other cafes. But it's not only shops pursuing change. Customers are also stepping up. This social media influencer brings her own container to cafes and restaurants.
Recently, when I went to the market, the shop owner said I was the first to do something like this, and I had a lot of people stare at me. But as an influencer with millions of followers, I would like to work more on challenges like these.
A rising keyword in 2025 is climate sensitivity, which refers to taking active action based on the awareness of the environment. Ultimately, it means that companies and consumers choose their strategies and actions based on climate change on our daily lives. From scorching heat to record snowfall this year, a professor says as consumers feel climate change personally, more and more have changed their consumption patterns.
These days, more people order delivery food, increasing plastic use. It doesn't require something big. If each and every individual can try just by a bit, it would bring much positive change.
As climate change and environmental issues become more apparent, more and more consumers are making sustainability a priority.
Sung-jin, after watching your report, I felt like I should use my tumblers more often next year because they are actually just tumbling around at home, and I should cut down on my takeout cups. But Sung-jin, you did mention it briefly in your report, but what exactly is climate sensitivity and why is it so important?
Right, so this year may have been the pinnacle of demonstrating awareness for the environment or eco-friendly aspects. For instance, in Korea last month, we saw the United Nations' fifth and final round of the Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee. The reasons may vary, but collectively this move shows climate sensitivity, which is how more people are opting for eco-friendly choices these days. Global warming is such an evident and urgent issue, and keeping climate sensitivity in mind is almost a must for us nowadays.
Then, outside of places like the cafe you went to check out, what are some practices already happening?
Right, both the central and local government have been working on reducing the use of plastic, especially in our daily lives, as Hoa just mentioned. One impressive example that I can think of is the project that the Seoul Metropolitan Government has been working on called Zero Waste Seoul. Especially post-COVID-19, the usage of plastic has skyrocketed, with more and more people ordering food at home. To reduce this and to foster further an eco-friendly consumption, the local government had Zero Restaurant Pilot Project from 2021 to early this year, where if you order from certain restaurants, you have the option to have your food delivered in reusable containers. The Seoul Metropolitan Government also implemented the personal cup usage point system, where if you order a drink with your own tumbler or cup and pay with Seoul Pay, you can earn 300 won worth of points per order. This means if you use a personal cup every day, you can stack up to around 9,000 won per month, which is around $10 saving.
I should keep note of that. But Songjin, in addition to the practices that were already implemented, what other efforts do we need moving forward?
Right, so first of all, I'm hoping that this trend can actually take firm grounding as consumers can choose and pick their choices based on these eco-friendly choices. Whether it be reusing your items or bringing your own container, as you mentioned, it can be also bringing your own tumbler in your daily life. As we've seen with the sustainable methods that are already taking place, there are things that can be done as an individual, but there are also efforts that require multiple stakeholders all working together. In other words, ultimately this means that environmental issues are collective action to really ensure implementation among everyone.
All right, well, I did mention I'm going to use my tumblers more often. What about you, Walter?
I'm going to definitely use my tumbler. I always bring my tumbler every day.
Oh,
I can't show you now, but definitely here. But I will definitely recycle more.
I mean, I can see it actually down here. Why don't we show our viewers that you are actually implementing those?
I'm definitely implementing it.
All right, thank you very much, Songjin, for that report, and Happy New Year.
Almost
Happy New
Happy
Year.
New Year, guys.
Happy
2 days, a couple days left, but
A couple
anyway.
days left, yes.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And it's time for our daily dose of K-entertainment news with Walter Lee, of course.
Yes.
And starting off with BLACKPINK'S Jennie.
Yes, well, we've already had an album released by BLACKPINK's Rose. Now it looks like it's time for BLACKPINK'S Jennie, as she's revealed plans to release her solo album next year. So according to her agency, OAA Entertainment, on Thursday, Jennie announced the news in a sort of happy holidays video on her official website that she said it's been a year of many changes, and adding, I've experienced significant growth, especially with her single Mantra that came out. When introducing her new album, Jennie said, after 11 months of work, I've achieved a result that I'm very satisfied with, and I hope the album pleasantly surprises the public when it's released, so I can't wait when that comes out.
Me neither, because December I was listening to Rose's Rosie album, all the 12 tracks, still listening to it. So next year I'm going to definitely check out Jennie's new album.
Yes.
Now we're going to move on to some news regarding K-pop idol Song Min-ho.
Yes, a little bit serious now. So the police have launched an investigation following into K-pop group Winner member Song Min-ho, following allegations of inadequate performance during his service as a public service worker. Now, Mapogu District Police Station announced on Thursday that it had received a request for investigation from the Military Manpower Administration on Monday and subsequently booked Song as a suspect on the same day. Now, Song served as a public service worker at a facility in Mapogu District, Seoul, from March last year until completing his service just on Monday. However, controversy began on December 17th after reports emerged accusing him of neglecting his duties. Now, the Military Manpower Administration reportedly stated that if the police confirm issues with Song's service performance, he will have to serve again the required related period time that he may have not served properly.
I see. Please keep us updated on the investigation, Walter.
Will do.
But last but not least, we're going to talk about K-movies.
Yes, we're all about K-movies today, and the film Nocturnal, starring Ha Jong-woo and Kim Nam-gil, is set to premiere on February 5th, so just in a couple of months' time. Ha Jong-woo takes on the role of Min Tae, a former gangster turned construction worker, while Kim Nam-gil plays Kang Ho-ryung, a best-selling author. Now, how do they intertwine, you may ask? Now, Nocturnal tells the story of Min Tae's relentless pursuit of the truth behind the night when his brother's body is found and his sister-in-law goes missing. Now, and this is actually connected with a best-selling novel within the movie, and it seems to predict the incident happening. So that's quite interesting. Now, this movie marks a second collaboration between Ha and Nam, and following their first project together back in 2020, The Closet, which interestingly enough also premiered on the same date back in 2020. So look out for that next February 5th.
Okay, maybe that's not a coincidence, but Walter, we're going to talk more about movies in a bit, so stick around.
Will do.
And now over to our AI anchor Adi for other culture-related news.
Join us on the Culture Wave AI News as we dive into Korea's cultural highlights. Let's get started with today's top story. Two Buddhist paintings from the late Joseon period that vividly capture Buddha's teachings have been designated as Korea's national treasures. The Korea Heritage Service has elevated the Yeongsan-Hwesangdo from Haeinsa Temple and the Seokgayeol의 Samburedo from Jikjisa Temple to national treasure status. The former illustrates the Buddha delivering teachings on a silk background, and the latter features a three-panel painting highlighting the rich Buddhist culture of the time. Seokgayeol의 Samburedo is the oldest intact artwork of its kind. The government is reviewing a temporary visa-free entry policy for Chinese group tourists to boost inbound tourism. Visa fee exemptions for group tourists from China, Vietnam, the Philippines, and 3 other countries will also be extended until December next year to stabilize the tourism sector, which remains sensitive to the December 3rd martial law incident. The government also plans to execute 70% of the 2025 tourism budget in the first half of the year. Korea aims to attract over 18 million foreign tourists in the coming year. The Culture Ministry has newly selected 13 cities and counties nationwide as cultural cities of Korea. They include Sokcho City in Gangwon-do, Suncheon City in Jeollanam-do, and Andong City in Gyeongsang-buk-do Province. Each region will receive 20 billion won, or roughly $13 million in development support over the next 3 years. Culture Minister Yoo In-chon emphasized the importance of highlighting each region's unique traditions in their development plans and suggested creating performances that represent their distinct cultural identities. That's all for now. Stay tuned to the Culture Wave.
아메리카노 좋아 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 아메리카노 진해 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 어떻게 하노 시럽 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 빼고 주세요 빼고 주세요 이쁜 여자와 담배 피고 차 마실 때 메뉴판이 복잡해서 못 고를 땐 사글세 내고 돈 없을 때 밥 대신에 짜장면 먹고 후식으로 아메리카노 좋아 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 아메리카노 깊어 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 설탕 설탕 빼고 주세요 빼고 주세요 여자친구와 싸우고서 바람필
2024 is coming to a close. The cold winter weather calls for indoor activities like trips to the cinema with family and friends or a K-drama at home. This year, a variety of Korean films and series have captivated audiences in Korea and abroad. Today, we want to take a look back at the major hits of the year 2024. For that, we're joined by Jae So, professor and filmmaker at Seoul Institute of the Arts. Welcome, Professor So.
Nice to be back.
Professor So, time flies. It's been, I think, 2 weeks that we actually talked about Squid Game Season 2. It was yet to be released back then, but yesterday, on the 26th of December, it was released. So I think you got the chance to watch through all of the episodes. So what was your first impression?
Yeah, I was up till I think 3 in the morning, binge watching all 7 episodes. So Well, you get more of the same. It basically started, it was a cliffhanger in season 1, so you're right back into the whole Squid Game sort of world of dystopia. So you had Lee Jung-jae come back, and now he's more focused and ready to commit himself to take revenge against the whole structure, the system that the games are there for. But all the regular stuff, you know, the amazing games, new characters. Also, what was kind of interesting was that the first season was 9 episodes, but season 2 ended with 7. So I was like, what? You know, it ended with a cliffhanger. I'm not going to give spoilers today, but it was almost like it was setting up for season 3. And I heard they shot season 2 and 3 together.
Right.
And director Hwan Dong-hyuk is now in post-production for season 3. So I think he's really sick of Squid Game itself. But I found it to be, it's been a while since we've seen it, you know, a couple of years. And I was right back into the whole drama of it. And so the immersive aspect of the storytelling is just there. I think it's much more violent. It's more dystopian. But I like the new characters. Like, for example, we have Lee Jung-jae, Lee Byung-hun, Lee Ah-jun, Gong Yoo all come back. But we have new stars. We have Im Si-won, Kang Han-il, Yang Dong-gun, and also Big Bang's Choi Seung-yeon, you know, top. So they comprise sort of new elements. But I think one of the biggest changes is the Squid Games itself. Before, you would have the traditional games, you know, like red light, green light. So those are back, but there are also, after each game, I think I mentioned it 2 weeks ago as well, there is a OX sort of voting system. So if the vote becomes, the majority is that they want to stop the games, they can all leave with the dividing up whatever the money is. So they do this after each game, which is sort of new. So it divides the two sort of groups sort of opposing each other. So it was really exciting to watch it again, and hopefully I think the audiences will be drawn back into all the stuff that was like the great set designs, you know, the weird Aisha, you know, Esha inspired sort of sets, and also just the weird games, and then just how it's about people that have no money, all just battling it out to try to get that, you know, the big cash payout at the end.
Right. Well, I'm still at it, so I'm really looking forward to my weekend to watch through the series. But Professor So, we did ask you before, but now that you have watched the second season, we'll ask you once more. Do you believe that Squid Game 2 has the potential to surpass the success of the first season? And I think there have been already media outlets making assessments. So what is your view on those assessments as well?
Just traditionally, when you go into a sequel, the expectations are so high, it's really hard to succeed after the initial one. But, you know, there are also successful things like Star Wars, where I think episode 4, you know, kind of like started that whole genre. But then I think people say the sequel, Empire Strikes Back, is a better sort of movie. I think Squid Game, for me personally, I think season 2 was a setup for season 3. It sort of ended so abruptly with only 7 episodes. And I read that director Hwang Dong-hyuk basically shot these two together, and he realized he wanted to stop at season 2 at 7 because it's a great cliffhanger the way it ends to set up for season 3. So personally, I think maybe not the same numbers or like the reviews, but I think season 3 is going to be really sort of expecting like the surprise that we're all looking for. But I know I looked at the New York Times, and it was like, you know, Squid Game 2 hits a red light. USA Today said still violent but disappointing. But there's also been sort of like the BBC and the Variety also said that, you know, it was basically bringing back all the old stuff again. They're really excited about it. So it's mixed, and that's a good sign. But I think, like anything, it's so hard for a filmmaker to, you know, even though this is a series, he's a film director, it's hard to match the incredible hit of the first one. I mean, we had all these different things. We had the pandemic at that time. Everybody was home watching Netflix.
Right.
You don't have the same sort of situation. So it's hard to match that. But I think the drama that's created in the story itself is enough to draw you back in.
Well, at least for season 3, we'll probably not have to wait that long as we have been waiting for the
Correct.
second one.
Yes.
Yes, and season 1 was, like you said, there were so many factors involved to watch season 1.
Yes.
It's going to be very interesting. But now let's delve into the movie industry. It's actually been a challenging year for the film sector overall. Can you maybe tell us why that is?
Well, we're still suffering. The film industry in South Korea is like even in Hollywood right now. It's not up to the standards of pre-pandemic 2019 levels. I would say the box office itself, like for example in Korea, it was something like 125 million people went to see the movies. The actual numbers when in its heyday was almost like 3 times that. So we don't have the sort of drawing power. And a lot of reasons for that is, the streaming services have come in. People find it also the expensive theater things that are happening as well. So it's not doing that well. But at the same time, I think, for example, the Busan Film Festival, it happened. One of the films that they showed was a Netflix film called Uprising. So it kind of shows you the state of cinema right now. But we still had a pretty good year in terms of the big hits, like over 10 million box office sort of like tickets being sold. So Exuma tops that, along with Roundup Punishment. That's Roundup 4, or 범죄도시 4. And then you have sort of the variety of different films that came out. Like, I think there are a lot of comedies this year. So we had like Pilot, which did really well. Also Handsome Guys. So these are kind of like really sort of, make you feel happy. It's funny, and kind of, the world is kind of very in chaos right now. So you can go to escape from that. Also, the movie Escape, which happened about the North Korean a spy trying to come into South Korea. That was a big hit. So it's a variety of different films. Like I would say, also I want to mention the movie Love in the Big City, which sort of deals with gay themes. So many variety different films coming out that we haven't seen before, and I think that's a really good sign.
So were there actually any notable characteristics of the movie industry this year? Anything interesting to mention?
I think the variety, the difference in what's happened before. I think Korean cinema for a while was really stuck in sort of the crime, thriller, sort of action movie thing. And I think the reason for that, of course, is everybody's watching streaming, and just the quality of movies that are watched, the production values are really high. So there was a huge sort of push for cinema to be also in Korea to be high in budget, but they realized that the bigger the budget, that we have a very small market. So unless we sell our movies outside of Korea, it's not going to happen. So what I found the trend to be is that there are like smaller scale movies this year. Basically it's more driven by storytelling that has to do with individual characters are really interesting. So I think, the Exuma, for example, it's an occult sort of drama about, basically it's like an exorcism type of movie, but based in Asian values. So you have shamanism come out. So that was kind of a new thing. I think Love in the Big City also, it's a really unusual movie because even though it didn't do really great at the box office, I remember when I went to see it in the movie theater, a lot of people, a lot of couples coming in. And it's a gay themed movie where there's a Kim Go-eun and Stephen No are the two heads, and they're actually, one guy's gay, one woman's straight. But this kind of storytelling is really unusual for Korean cinema, but I think it's definitely a direction that we need to go, because I think those sort of movies that were big budget, crime driven, those were basically, I think people were kind of sick of watching them. So it's a combination of basically theatrical sort of movies being more expensive, streaming services being cheaper, and then just the variety of films that people are used to watching, they're expecting more. So I think making this kind of change in the storytelling is definitely going to be good for Korean cinema in the future.
Yes, and let's also obviously mention the actors and actresses of the year that were in the spotlight. Can you maybe mention some of them that were actually most notable?
Yes, and I want to mention that movie again. I'm pumping this one movie so much, but Kim Go-eun from Love in the Big City, she is somebody everybody knows from the Coin Shop Girl. She did a lot of dramas, and I think in this movie, she really hit it big, and also she was in Exuma as well. So I think it's her year. And at the Blue Dragon Awards, she won the Best Actress. And she had stiff competition. She had Chun Do-yeon for Revolver, Kim Go-eun for I Hate Korea. It's a movie I don't really like that much, but anyway, you know, she had stiff competition from many different actors, but you know, she's now just sort of like the top selling sort of box office draw for females. But also for males, I would say Hyunbin in Harbin, which is now still playing in the cinemas. It's about the independent fighter An Jung-gun, who assassinated the Japanese premier. That actor is doing really well, as well as there's a movie coming out on the 31st called Bogota that stars Song Joong-ki, who everybody knows from Vincenzo and a lot of TV series. But this movie was kind of delayed a little bit, but it finally found the right time to be released this year. So we're going to see his acting, which is, I think, everybody's talking about all these acting, you know, sort of the stars becoming really good actors as well. Yeah.
And finally, Professor Sewell, next year, 2025, which movie or movies should we look out for?
So I think you mentioned in the show just before, there's a movie coming out in February called Nocturnal with Ha Jung-woo, and that's a crime story that I think, you know, when you read the synopsis, I haven't watched the movie yet, it just sounds sort of very different. And I think Ha Jung-woo is an actor-director who chooses really interesting projects. You know, he was in Hijacking recently. So I'm really looking forward to that film. There's another movie called Balcony that has Chun Sun-hee in it. And this is a suspense thriller that happens in an apartment. Also Killing Time, which is a film that has Ryu Ye-young and Nam Yoon-soo. And this is a sort of another film it's a thriller that's coming out. And then there's a director I really like, Min Gyu-dong, and there's a movie called The Old Man with a Knife. It's called Pagwa in Korean. Sounds pretty exciting just from the title itself. So there seems to be focus on sort of more individual, small storytelling that's very compact and kind of going to bring the audiences back into the theater. So it's a good sign.
Wow, looking very much forward to all of these movies coming up and also to your insights, Professor Sewell. So thank you very much for today and also Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Thank you.
And thank you, Walter, and we'll see you back next week.
We'll see you next week, Sewell.
Thank you for spending the past half an hour with us on the Culture Wave. Have a great weekend, maybe by watching that second season of Squid Game, and hope you join us again next week and maybe one day here in Korea.